All right, we are live. Hey, everybody, this here is Mike at Crash Bushcraft, and we have Alan Hobbs with Freedom
Freedom
Bushcraft.
Bushcraft. Hi, folks.
Uh, for anybody that doesn't know, that might be just tuning in, we wing this thing most of the time for these last, what, 6, 7 segments that we've had. Between him
Yeah,
moving, between my work and everything, it's been kind of rough and hard for us to keep up with everything. But tonight, I kind of throwed it on him at the last minute there, but basically just camp cooking. Those are some of the things, learn how to do while you're in and out and stuff like that. We may have someone pop in here about 10:30ish if he gets an opportunity, but I had to wait for that one to kick up and then mute it because all I heard was freedom witchcraft. But it won't let me mute it until it goes live on it, and we're about 30 seconds away from where they're at. But
yeah.
we'll normally kick the show off with a little bit of stuff that we've got going on, and I'm gonna let Alan, if you're ready for it. If you're not, and I'll go ahead and start on some stuff. I know you're trying to work on the computer right now, getting it fixed up.
Yeah, go ahead and talk about whatever you got. I'll be up and running in a minute.
Oh, my mustache. Let me adjust it then. Let me get this camera here adjusted because I kind of moved in and out whenever I was working at it. I guess that's about good enough.
What
How's
is
that?
it?
Is that better? Go this away.
What they say? I haven't got the comments up yet.
It's we're at your mustache crash. Apparently, I was. Hello, everybody. This is Mike at Crash Bushcraft. But the knife that I'm working on, uh, I'm about finished up with it. The first time I've ever done my Carta handles with a wrap. I've never done that before, so I didn't really know what I was doing. I kind of looked at a few videos, and I realized something after doing it. You ain't got to make that thing that thick. That's just a whole lot of sanding you don't have to do. But other than that, I should have it finished and ready to go tomorrow and have the last of the video actually up and running. Um, I was playing around with it before I put the handle on it, and about yay big around limb, it just slices right through it. So I don't know if I have a bushcraft knife or a bushcraft tool, or if I have a mini hobbit sword, but I have one of the two right now.
I haven't even had a chance to watch your second video on it yet.
Here's another one that I'm actually working on now. Actually got a little bit better grind with it than my normal, the old ones. But that one I'm going to do with a paracord wrap and put the hardener or the fiberglass resin hardening stuff over it and see how well it turns out. That knife there, I started making 8 months ago. I had it powder coated and never done nothing else with it, just left it alone. But now I've kind of decided I want to go ahead and have it finished up.
Did you said you put a powder coat on that one?
Yeah, this one has a powder coat on it.
What do you do that with?
I don't. a friend of mine, he
Okay.
a friend of mine, he has a company that he does firearms. He restores them, puts powder coating on them, and changes them, and does all kinds of stuff. So I took him up there to him one day, and I asked him would he be interested in fixing it for me, and he said, "Yeah, we can do that." And
That's cool.
he told me he would do any of them that I wanted. I just wanted to try it and see because he didn't know how well it would do either for a knife that's going to be bouncing through wood and stuff. So that's going to be kind of a prototype to see how well it does. But he can do any color. He's got about 70 colors that he can choose from.
Yeah.
For everybody that's joining in, we appreciate y'all stopping in and seeing us. I see Trevor's in here. I've got a bunch of comments on those two videos. I've responded to a few of them, but I haven't had an opportunity to get to the rest of them yet. I'll try to do that sometime tomorrow. But Trevor had asked what's the weight on it. I haven't weighed it. I probably need to. It's a it's a fairly heavy knife, but not. I mean, it's not that heavy. I mean, it's a 1/4 inch steel. It's about 3 inches across the blade or the belly of it up to the spine.
Yeah. Pretty cool, pretty cool.
But
I am just about to the chat area now.
oh, but I've got 4 more designs that I cut out over the weekend as far as knives. Just these are basically tinkering knives. That one I just wanted something other that was big, I guess, just so I could fit in with the rest of you guys that have these large knives. But I don't personally. I'm not a big knife fan. I mean, this size here is about max for a knife for me, and really a little bit smaller than that would be more ideal for me because I mostly just cutting rope and sharpening things down or something like that. I don't really use them for chopping anymore, which I have in the past. I did. I've had several of them, and I'd chop the heck out of a tree. I'd cut down a forest if you left me out there long enough. But I realized once whack with a hatchet and I was done.
On my end, probably everyone on my Facebook has seen it, but my brother sent me a new muzzleloader rifle. It's a very, very nice one. I'll show you y'all. This is a Thompson Center Omega right hand. Let's see if I can click me up on the screen. And you see this curve inside the handle here? That's for the forearm to do like that.
It's a good looking weapon.
It's got I forget what my brother said. It's got a scope. What? See the fiber optic sights.
Mm-hmm.
This is an Omega S5 Thompson Center. I love that little groove though. That little groove just tickles me. And your forearm fits right in. It's got just a Bushnell scope on it. I don't know anything more than that. That's all it says on it is Bushnell. So now I'm trying to find a place to deer hunt. I was talking with Briar Goat Killer today. It's funny, I live so far out in the country and I'm having a hard time finding a place to, when you don't have a car or license, so it complicates things when it comes to something like that. So I got to go just wherever my scooter can go. And then I got to think about how I'm getting the deer back home, which I'm going to make me a trailer for my scooter to pull a deer back home with that, or I'm going to wear the deer back home.
It reminded me of that Facebook picture I seen one time where a guy's riding a bicycle through the middle of town, has got a deer strapped on his back.
I saw that today. I sent that to my brother. It's on YouTube, and he's actually carrying it. Well, I don't know if that's the same one you've seen, but this is an old guy with white hair, and he's got the deer around his shoulders, and he's holding it with one hand and pedaling a bicycle with the other. And he drove a long ways, and it was snow out there and stuff. I showed that to my brother, and he was like, well, he said, that was just stupid, Alan. He said, if that guy falls, all the weight of the deer is going to make him hurt 10 times more than he normally would. He said, and I guarantee you by the time he got home, his neck and back was probably going to hurt for the next 3 or 4 weeks. He just went on and on because my brother's kind of trying to talk me out of, I think, carrying it on my shoulders on my scooter. Alan, maybe it's just my internet connection, but your video picture is very grainy tonight. Yeah, I know it. I don't know what happened. Let's see if I can figure it out here again. What you got to talk about, Mike?
No, no. What we were going to talk about tonight was just camp cooking while you're out there and stuff. Things to learn how to cook, things of that nature, and just kind of go over some of the things that we do while we're out there. I'm not a bannock man. Um, I cook bread in a billy can. I don't, or a Dutch oven if I've got it. But if I'm just out hiking or, out for a while and I don't want to carry a large amount of weight, I cook most of my biscuits and things and my breads and stuff like that. I cook it in a billy can. I take the can itself. Some of you have seen the videos, but I put another pan inside of it upside down, a smaller one, and then I cook my bread on it to where it gives the heat rolling around. Other ways of doing that to make a bread or even get your biscuits to work if you want to is when you have your fire, if you have something that's flat or a surface, you can lay it at an angle in front of your fire that's going, and the heat that rolls across it will actually help bring the rise up to the breads that you're cooking. um, some of the other things that I do, I try to get a meat of some type. And when I eat at night, especially in the wintertime, I want something that's got some protein and some fat to it because it helps keep you warm at night because your body will actually heat up to burn off all of that. Um, Water is another good thing to drink at night because it'll heat up to heat the water up in itself, which will heat up the metabolism and stuff like that. Um, it's just, I mean, different ways of cooking and stuff. I mean, in a bushcraft versus a survival situation, you may not have all of those necessities as a billy can with you for whatever reason, or you may not have a frying pan or something. There's a lot of good videos out there and cooking with over the coals with a steak, just throwing it straight over it. Um, you can do it that way. Rock, I've seen it done. I've done it once or twice just out of testing it and stuff. You really have to make sure that the rock is up high enough because there's certain bacteria that can actually be on the rock in itself, and that's just from reading it. So it's not one of those things that I would prefer to do if that was my only option. A good stick stabbed right through the middle of whatever meat that I had obtained was good enough. How about you, Alan? You cook with a whole lot of different stuff.
I do. I cook, but of course, I take the poor boy technique on everything I do, basically, because I'm poor. But there's a I mainly cook with a cheap little cook set as far as pots and pans, anything I need. But for those who's watched all of my videos or most of my earlier videos, I used to, before I got this pretty nice cook kit I got, I used to just get a tin can. Like whenever we buy vegetables, like I'd get V8 juice in a big can just so I could use the can to take camping. And I'd use the can to boil stuff in. Boil my rice in it. I boil potatoes in those cans.
That's something that's interesting too when you bring that up. A lot of the cans now, I mean, you'll know when you get one, but a lot of the cans now have a film on the inside of it. It's
yeah,
a,
you got
a
to burn
wax
that
coating.
off.
Yeah, you have to make sure you get that out of it. Um,
Yeah.
versus the old can, you used to get it and it was just a tin can. I mean, just slap tin.
The rock cooking, Sue, that's pretty cool. I've done that before. But if you're gonna boil water with rocks, make sure you pour out the first boil.
Yeah. Stay 5 days survival challenge.
That was the nastiest water I ever drank in my life. Um, and yeah, we got a house with air conditioning now, so I don't have no need to take my shirt off. But later on, if you want to see a private chat, I'll go ahead and take it off for you.
Yeah, I
I'm
won't
just
be in that
kidding.
one.
Get Virgo killing a plane. You're the woman I dream
Yeah.
of.
On the rock cooking and stuff, um, I'm sure that we have a lot of, porous rocks and stuff like that. You know, some of ours will explode, which you don't want to get them that hot, naturally.
Yeah.
But you have to be careful with some of them too. But I just, well, it depends on what kind of bacteria it was. But I mean, that's just I mean, it's something that can be done. Um, the last scenario, if you're in a survival situation and there ain't no wood around you, you probably don't have a fire. I would go with a stick stabbed right through the middle of it and just rotisserie it before I'd really go for the throwing the rock part on it. But that's just my preference.
Yeah.
I mean, we all have our own ways of doing it and stuff.
Especially in a survival situation, and you figure most likely if you end up in a survival situation, probably more of a chance you're going to end up in your area somewhere anyway. So you
I
might
tell
not
you,
have rocks. You might do. I don't have rocks here unless I go under the bridge to get them.
I I was reading out of a little book, and it's been months and months ago. And I'd always thought, if you're not used to the gamey taste of meat, shooting something wild or killing something wild is a different flavor and a taste. And it kind of reminded me, somebody, I was thinking, well, somebody that's not familiar with that may not eat that, you know. But in that book there, it speaks, it basically blatantly tells, just come right out and says it, that, you get hungry enough, there's a lot of things that taste real good and
Yeah,
that you normally wouldn't eat, because I was always thinking, maybe you should, you know kind of get out there and taste different game foods and things like that, because a lot of the people that do this on a daily basis, they do it quite often, they're good with it, but for someone new getting into it that maybe have been raised in the city and has never tasted venison or never tasted squirrel or tasted rabbit, their first gag instincts at the kitchen table would be you know, but 2 days and you've not eaten, those livers taste real good.
Mike, that's. I'm not going to laugh at that idea because I've really been considering the wagon thing to the back of the scooter. I've looked up different videos on building a trailer for my scooter to go hunting with, and there's several ones out there. I even seen one in the Philippines where it was just two bamboo sticks kind of made like a stretcher with a wheel on the end of it, and that worked. So pretty much anything like that'll work. Not to get off the subject of the cooking and stuff yet. Trying to go through the comments and make sure I didn't miss too much of nothing here while I was getting my computer ready. A lot of y'all know all about the cooking in the bushcraft, cooking in the woods, all the different ways and things you can do. But a lot of that times, like especially for fish, if you're just cooking fish, you can just throw that dead, nothing around it. It's better foil when you're doing fish that way. To me, it's better to have aluminum foil wrap on. You can just throw it straight in the coals of the fire, and it'll cook great and it tastes great. Aluminum foil, when you peel the aluminum foil off, it peels the same time. For me, it usually does. But I've also done it where you just throw them dead in the coals without wrapping them up with nothing, and then when you get them out, you can take a fork or a spoon and just push that skin right off of the fish, and they're good like that, especially if you got spices to put on them. But sometimes y'all see the way I cook in the woods. Usually, it's not with the only way I cook if I have something soupy that I need to cook, like or something of that sort, rice. But when I kill a squirrel or I catch out there, whether it's a snake, a squirrel, or I usually just stick it on a spit and put it right over the fire. If I'm real hungry, I'll fast cook it. If I'm not that hungry, I'll let it slow cook for hours and hours. And like Mike said, it has a gamey taste. And if you're not used to that kind of taste, it's bad to you. But I like it. I love it any kind of way. I just like wild game. And I guess I don't have much of a, or don't care anyway. I mean, I like something that tastes good, but I'm hungry. I'm starving before, and so I know what it's like to be hungry and eat anything. And I ate those worms. I was pure nasty, but I belly.
There's so much stuff that's out there that can be ate and stuff like that. But like we were talking just with that opening up yourself, to a different variety of taste and foods and stuff is, to me, is part of that bushcraft survival training. Things that you want to get adjusted to and used to.
Am I breaking up to anybody, or are y'all hearing me clear? Been acting up for the last day.
To me, it's breaking up, but I mean, it could just be because we're on the same thing. It may be clearer for them.
Yeah. How's it going, Barrago? And Hayes, it's been a hectic, and Mike too over there. Mike's got all kind of, so kind of tonight. I think we're both pretty much brain dead. Forgive me if I didn't say hey to you, but hey to everybody that's in there. So anybody else, let me know. Am I breaking up to y'all, or yeah, I've got 55-gallon drum full of donuts.
Yeah. What is your favorite food to cook while out? Not the one that you cook because of finances or whatever, but your favorite that you would have out there. Well, like say,
by choice.
Yes.
What would I bring from home by choice?
Yes.
If I had steak every day, I go time, I go out there a steak and I want that Mountain House eggs.
Yeah. Actually, that was pretty good stuff. Some of them are saying that you are breaking up. Some of them are saying you're not. But I mean, it's just part of it, I guess. One of my favorite things is potato soup. I did a video on it. It's something. It's simple. It's easy, and you can make a large amount of it. Yeah, bacon's probably my son can eat 15 pounds of bacon a day.
Wow, a lot of people say I am breaking up. I don't know what else to do. I don't know what's going on with our computer and internet, y'all. I think, well, it don't matter what. It has something to do with our modem, but I'll work on it this week. Nick is wanting to move the next show to Wednesday, and probably from there on out. And Mike says, "I want to do, Alan."
What?
You're so caught up, you're not hearing that, are you?
No, I heard Wednesday, and then you just went. It's just like you froze, and then like, so what are you going to do, Alan? I would say my favorite is steak as well. I take it with me whenever I go to catch the Walmart special, like the brown steak is what I call it. The aged is what I prefer to be called, but it's normally $12 for a T-bone or a ribeye. You get it for $7-8. Slap that thing in there and cook it. I like to take instant potatoes, those little packs that you get, the Idahoan or whatever. Take those things with me and do some bread up. I've even been known to take green peas with me. But I think the whole thing about it though is if you're not familiar with cooking different types of foods in different ways, Bluegrass Bushcraft, he and someone else, can't remember who it was, about a year ago, they tried it. They took actually and done the steak over the coals, no frying pan, no nothing, for the first time, and he was amazed at how well it turned out. I know Tony, he's a pork chop man. He'll cook pork chops and taters all day long, but when we don't have those things, and we have to obtain the other meat. Learning how to cook that, my Tim had made the comment a while ago about boiling and stuff. Vinegar helps kill some of the taste as well. But one of the bad problems, when I'm sure Briar can go with this one, is a lot of the gamey taste is how long it was laid over before you gutted it, how much adrenaline was flowing through it. You know, did you spook it? Did you chase it? You know, did you let the deer just really freak out before it expired, or the squirrel or whatever? Those are one of the biggest things about getting at taste out of it is before you make the kill, you know.
I've cooked a lot of wild game cooker, and that is definitely a way to do it for me, because this has no, like a snake, you know, say cottonmouth. I've ate copperheads and I have any kind of snakes, and they always just aftertaste. But salt will change the taste tremendously. Just put salt, changes a whole lot. Keep salt with me when I'm camping.
Speaking of salt, how's the hide doing?
I lost you. Say it again.
Speaking of salt, how is your hide doing? Your deer hide?
It's not stinking. It's not ruining. But like I said, that deer hide has so much meat on. Now the meat's kind of making the salt puddle up into
like a
grape. Good. I can't hear you. You're breaking up. Out of this one and go into another one.
Do what?
I'll be right back with you.
Okay.
Hop out of here and crank it back up. So y'all in just a second.
I think he just said he's going to hop back out and come back in, but I'm not for sure if that's what he's going to do. So right now I'm going to invite him back in. And see if that kicks back in. But is my voice breaking up as well, or was it just on his end of it? Somebody give me a thumbs up or a spit out. What was trying to read through some of the comments here. Did any of you catch the pre-TR preppers deal on food at Tractor Supply? I have not seen that one. I'll have to check into it. No, there's a wild taste in deer. Never noticed that before. Never tasted wild game taste in anything. It was fried, dyed, soaps and such. I don't know. Alan was talking earlier about, we've kind of reset his a couple of times. He thinks it may just be the computer in itself, but this is an actual new internet service too for him out there. So I don't know if there's anything on it, but I'm going to try to get him to change his bandwidth when he comes back in. Say something on us there, Alan. If you can, when you hear this, go up there to adjust your bandwidth usage and drop it down somewhere to where it's not on HD or whatever. See if that's going to help you out with the bouncing around.
You hear me better now?
I do. Much better.
For a minute anyway, huh?
Yeah. Well, that's all good. But
I got to find the chat room again.
Did you log completely out and then come back in?
Well, I was on Internet Explorer. I logged out of that and came back into here on Chrome.
You know, when you read some of the comments off over here, a lot of these guys and gals on here, they've got a lot of good comments, and it's kind of hard for us to keep up with them, which
Yeah.
was one of the reasons we talked about how we like Google Hangouts, you know, the Google part of it better because you get the questions and you can answer them. But here, you know, everybody gets to participate in it as well. That's something that someone's made Fuzz Fork or Fuzz T48 had made a comment. Got to refresh his coffee. I don't drink coffee. Well, generally, when I'm out in the woods, I take hot chocolate or I'll take teas of some type of it. We use buttermilk on our striped fish when we catch them to get that funk out of it. And I do it on bass as well.
There says it all tastes good, battered, fried, and in good milk gravy. I agree.
You know, that's another thing when you're out and about and stuff in the wintertime or even late fall and stuff, you know, putting your food in the creeks and things like that will help keep it cooler, you know, than 85, 90-degree water. You know, if you can get it down sunk to the lower depth of it to where it's a little cooler.
Yeah. I saw her way on up in the comments that were going too fast for me to keep up with about my deer hunting. Some people saying a lot of deer around there and this, that, and another. But there's tons of deer around here. We don't have no shortage of deer whatsoever. My only problem on finding somewhere to hunt is I drive a scooter that only goes 30 miles an hour, and I have to hunt on game lands, which that's called something different in probably every state. In Georgia, it's WMA. Here, it's game lands. But the only game lands close to me are permit only, and the other ones are no guns or restricted firearm zone. So the problem is I'm still trying to find a place to hunt. And I was saying I live in this way out in the country and can't find nowhere to hunt, and it's sad, but it's just because all the land is owned and nobody wants you on their land, you know. And I'm a new face out here where I'm at, so I got to get to know somebody and do some work for them, and then probably I get to hunt on their land. Parker says he don't like straight ground venison in anything but chili. Bacon fat mix 30/70 makes good burgers. Speak up, Mike.
I was just reading that. Enough seasoning on a lot of. There's no fat to venison hardly at all, you know. So that's what we do is we put beef fat with it. But I have an advantage, I guess, because I can get all the beef fat that I want. So I and hamburgers with venison probably 70-30, I guess, would be about right.
I'm one of those kind of people that don't go by almost everything I cook. I guess you would say I wing it. But I make some really good food. My wife loves it. I love it. But I'll follow a recipe to an extent. But if I don't think the recipe sounds good for my tasting, I'll start pouring in the garlic, pouring in the salt, pouring in the pepper, you know, and I just do it to what I think tastes good. Usually it tastes really good. It's not very often that I make something that don't taste good, but I make some of the best jerky people's ever tasted. And I had some out at Harmony Hall a while back, and the guy said, "Man, this is the best jerky I ever tasted, man." Said something about had never tasted any in a store that good. He said, "Email me the recipe." I said, "There ain't no recipe, man." He said, "Well, you got to know how you made it." I said, "Hell, I just took everything out of the cabinet and poured on it."
It's what my dad used to call vegetable surprise. It's just,
Yeah.
it's, He just a friend of mine. Whenever I first started at the grocery store down there, we would take all the cans goods that we would have, that where the labels got tore off of it, or just anything that was canned goods, and we'd stack them up in a little old box over there. And one night we took off and went camping, and we was going to stay gone for 2 days, and we was only going to eat what was in those cans. And mind you, some of it was pretty good, and some of it was dog food. And we've eventually figured out how the dog food got in there, because what aisle you're over there fooling around with, and you see one off, so it's got to be something over there. And one of the guys there at work had found out what we were doing whenever we'd find an empty can, and apparently he went and bought 2 cans of dog food and ripped the labels off of them, throwed it off in our box. Bear meat, that's another good one. We
Go ahead.
There's a guy that Stevens, I can't think of his last name, but his dad and him would go bear hunting every year, and both of them would get 1 apiece at least. Sometimes they would get their limit of 2, but they would every year. We'd have this thing in the fall, and the year of the meat from the thing, he would cook bear chops, and his dad would do a chili. Oh, it's some good stuff.
Thanks, Briar. I'll look into that. As soon as we get off here, I'll go see if I can buy one. I do have $5 on my account.
What was you getting?
You said there was some. Now, Briar, I was talking to Briar today, and he was helping me out on trying to find a place to hunt around here. And some of the leftover tickets or permits, I don't know how that works, but leftover permits, you can go ahead and buy them for $5. So the Bladen Lakes Forest, which is by me, he was just telling me on track B, there was some leftovers I can buy. Basically, you buy the permit for a 1 weekend hunt, I think is how it is.
Huh. There's a lot of good foods. I mean, I think all of us. Do what?
Go ahead. I just said 1 weekend's better than nothing, for sure. Yeah.
Well, it can't be as bad as mine. So if any of y'all haven't heard, I figured Alan would have made a video on this one. This past Tuesday, I decided that I wanted to go hunting, but then I realized I had a dentist appointment at 8:30, so I eliminated the morning. And then I had a doctor's appointment at 11:30. So about 12:30, I run off to the woods, going to spend about 2 to 3 hours out there. So I grab my stand up, I take off, get out to a spot where I wanted to go, and guess what? They're still working on the roads and they're stripping it out. Then that just eliminated that process of being able to go there because it was close to the house. So I turned around and went down to another one, run out there, got climbed up in the tree, sat there for about 2 hours, shot a little bit of video for it. I'm running back because I got to be at a football game at 6:30, and it's an hour away. So I got to get my son ready. So I run back home, get him ready, and left my tree stand sitting beside my truck. $400 Summit tree stand gone. So there, it's out. Even good
terrible
guys.
Freaking thing.
Yeah. And as soon as I go up to your house and find it in your bedroom, I'm killing you. No, it was my mistake. I just got in a hurry. I took it off, set it beside the truck, run around to the other side. The wife called, and you're going to be able to make it. And I was like, yeah, I'm hurrying. And I just pulled right slap off and left it sitting right there in the parking area. So touche to those who now have a brand new Summit tree stand. And not anybody. I would have picked it up if I'd seen it sitting out there. I mean, it's out in the middle of nowhere, but.
Yeah, it ain't like stealing or nothing.
No,
find it.
It's my mistake. It's a costly one. But Brad was going to see if Brad could make it in tonight, because he seems to be the camp connoisseur that gets out there and just really whips up a lot of good stuff. But I think all of us that are on here, we all have our own personal ways of doing things when we're out cooking and things of that nature. It's not like it's something that, we don't know how to do. I mean, we didn't. Most of us are in the same age group. What do? You get shocked?
Oh,
You sound like you just tased
I was,
yourself.
I was opening up this Ziploc bag of tobacco. For those of y'all who know about my brother, you hear me talk about him a lot. For those who don't, my brother owns a business called Bow Fishing Madness, and it's the most popular bow fishing business probably in America. And he takes people out like Dave Canterbury and Blake Sheldon and all the movie stars and stuff like that. They pay him to go fishing on his boat, bow fishing, shooting fish with a bow. And besides that, he does a lot of other stuff. But anyways, I was talking to him last night, and he agreed that if he don't have nothing going on, he'll come on the show as a guest star next week. So hopefully he won't have nothing going on, and we'll get him on here, talk about some hunting. He has been in many world competition and won he's a bow and arrow guy is what he is. He's good with everything he does, guns, bow and arrows, but he's in a lot of magazines due to winning the world competitions years ago. Even today, he sent me a picture on the phone and he said, "Oops, I just split an arrow at 60 yards."
Oopsie.
He likes to aggravate me like that. But he's the only person in the world, and I already told him he could when he comes down here again, that I would let shoot an apple off of my head at however many feet he wanted to be back. I would trust him to do it. And I would. I will.
Not me. That one mosquito that lands right in the arrowhead.
I doubt that he would even do it because he ain't going to be that dumb, which I would be that dumb to let him.
I can see you sitting there saying, "Yeah, go ahead and do it."
Mm-hmm.
This
I wouldn't have no problem with it.
This will be the greatest video ever.
Yeah, I wouldn't have no problem with it at all. I mean, it wouldn't bother me in the least. But I know that
I would say
he's a much more responsible person than me, and he's going to be like, "Well, Alan, I would, but if one of your nerves jump, or if one of my nerves jump, and I accidentally let go of the screen." You know, he's going to look at all the responsibilities and consequences, and therefore I know he won't do it. But I already told him he could, though, if he wanted to.
Brennan had made a comment and said, "Honestly, I wish more people my age were into this kind of stuff, but I get along with the older generation anyway, so it doesn't bother me." I've noticed, actually, I think he said he was 18, between the ages of about 12 and 16, there is a lot of folks on YouTube that is into bushcraft. There's quite a few of them now that are popping up channels.
I've noticed a lot of young people in the bushcraft. I got a lot of young subscribers on my channel that are into it.
I think just it's something that not much of a fad, but it's an up and down. You know, there's just a few of us that'll just kind of stick around with it long enough to either become boring or good at it.
I agree, though. There's definitely not enough people into it, I don't think, especially in the young generation. I mean, so many kids are into just gaming and stuff like that, computer stuff nowadays, and don't go outside and do nothing. I ride around and look at how pretty stuff is in the woods. No matter where we go, I'm one of those people looking back and forth everywhere we go. I'm always looking. And like my stepson, he always looks at the floorboard. And I tell him, I said, "Man, why do you keep looking at the floorboard? Look at all that pretty country out there." He says, "What? It's just trees. All trees look alike." I'm like, okay.
Older than the hills, but still younger than the mountains.
Semi-new.
I'm not old. I'm only 46. I'll be 47 in December. Alan's 48.
I ain't neither.
You
Am I
will be.
48?
You're what, 47 now, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm
46.
47.
47. I knew you
47.
were.
I'll be 48 next year. Not no time soon. I always have to ask my wife how old I am. We'll go to the doctor's office or something, and they say, "How old are you?" And I look at my wife. How old am I?
I think Sue made a comment about introducing the kids out, at an earlier age. With Caden, he's up and down with the outdoor stuff. There's certain days that he likes it, and there's certain days that he doesn't. Of course, he's only 6 now, but anytime that he wants to, we take off. And then there's days that it's like, hey, you want to go out and learn this? And he's like, no. I thought, well, okay. I don't really push him, but when he's ready, I jump straight on the opportunity. It's
Yeah, that's fine, Lee. Give him a shout out. I guess I'll have to check out his channel. I don't think I ever even heard of him, Brendan.
If I'm not mistaken, I heard that bushcraft actually originated in Australia. It said that it originated in England, but we had this discussion a couple of weeks ago, and it's kind of an upside down.
But his comments are going so fast, it's hard to keep up with them.
It is.
Just scrolling and scrolling. That's the thing too, I guess, about where you live might have a big effect on the kids around where you live. I know out here in the country, I can guarantee you most of all the kids out here are country boys. They do it all. My step kid, he's from Florida and he ain't never been in the country until now. But if he was raised out here, he'd more than likely be in all the stuff we do too.
I can tell you one of the easiest ways that got Caden really interested in it was involving him in it. But we made a little tent, not outside or anything. We done it in the house. We just took, one of my tarps, laid it over 2 or 3 chairs. And when he wanted to get in there and play, you have to get in there with him. And it's just one of those building points. You start out where you started out. When we were kids, I'm sure most of us.
Finish the sentence.
I was reading. I mean, you just have to get out. Trying to keep up with some of these. It's just like rolling over here.
I know it is here too.
But the thing that helped him the most with any of that, I don't limit him, but I show him the responsible. He has his own knives. He knows that he can't touch them. He knows he don't even ask to touch them unless I'm around. He knows the danger of the knife. It's just as well as a lot of people, they frown on this, but at 4, he was shooting the AR with me, and at 5, you put 3 rounds in it, and he fires it by himself and hits the target. But he knows they're not. He asked us, can we go?
All right, go kill it. Just put a random comment to make the comment scroll.
Oh, is that what he's doing?
I'm guessing that's what he's doing. Why else would he put random comment? When I married my wife, my stepson, I have 3 stepsons and 1 stepdaughter. When I married my wife, 1 stepson and 1 stepdaughter was already grown up, married, and out. And I was left with a 14-year-old and a 4-year-old. And I tried to, being in Florida and in the area we was in, which was basically all city, but had a lot of cool stuff. Like we were surrounded by a chain of lakes. There was 15 lakes connected by canals. And so there was lots of fishing going on between us. But I tried to show the two that I had left the country way and, you know, how to be a country boy and all that stuff. And the older one, he loved it. I mean, he seemed like he really liked it a lot. But the younger one, I did stuff like I built him a tree house and was going to go out there and sleep in it with him. And I tried to make it fun for him. I let him bring his little battleship game, and we played battleship and whatnot. And he tried. I give him plenty of credit. He tried. But we laid down, and I put the sleeping bag over my head. Florida's hot, and I had this real thin sleeping bag, but I put it over my head to keep mosquitoes off. And he was probably 5 or 6 years old at that time, and I was about to go to sleep, and I hear, "Alan." I said, "Yeah, bud, I'm ready to go in the house if you are." I felt bad for him. I was thinking, well, I don't want to keep him out here if you don't want to be out here. But when I got him in the house, I could see why he wanted to go in. He had welts all over his face from mosquitoes. They just tore him up. And I was like, golly, boy, you should have said something. But then I've taken him fishing too. I used to go fishing on Tampa Bay Causeway all the time, like 2 and 3 times a week, and spend the nights out there. And I took him fishing a couple times there, I think, but I don't know if he really ever liked it or not. He didn't really act like he liked it. I think a lot of times he just did that stuff with me just so he could, you know, try to relate with me or be buddies or something, you know. I don't think he really liked it at all. But my other stepson did. He loved it.
I got like 9 windows open in here.
Damn. I done got mine shut down to 2 to try to keep it from messing up again. But this one's weird. I'm back on Google Chrome, but it won't let me open up the video in a separate window or a separate tab. It's like they're both on the same bar, and I can't remove the tabs. I have to have only one or the other open.
Hey, Nick.
But I get enough of seeing you anyway, so.
Yeah.
I'd rather see the comments.
What are you trying to say, Leroy?
What's going on, Nick?
I'll tell you something. I've told you this the other day, though. I thought it was funny. I seen something on Facebook, and I know it made me think about it whenever you seen that enough. And I've seen it like 100 times. There's something other about, said how cute your 5-year-old can do the nay-nay, but at age 10 can't read a Dr. Seuss book. Every time I hear that, it just cracks me up. So I had to go find out what this was. I didn't even know what it was. I found out it's some kind of dance, I guess.
That's something too about kids, and I talk about that all the time when I'm camping, and on a lot of my videos I talk about if you got kids, they're not going to get into it if you don't get them into it. You know, you got to be the one to take your kid out and do that stuff with. Wait till he's 6 or 7 years old and where he's starting to go in his own direction, and then try to get him into it. It might be a little bit too late, you know.
You had talked about it. It's kind of off the subject. Are you still talking, or is this thing cleared out?
No, I'm not talking.
Oh. It looks like it was there for a minute. You were talking, and I didn't know if I'd caught up with you or not.
Oh.
Go ahead. We talked about it the other day. I'm gonna go back into raising rabbits. It's quite a bit of it's quite a bit of money in it. I probably made about $6,000-7,000 a year off of it. But I had a thing with Purina, and they would send me these coupons, and you buy like 3 bags of Purina, you know, the rabbit feed, and if you bought 3, they'd give you 1 50-pound bag for free. Well, I sent them a thing in and asked them, was that available still? And they said, well, yes, if I buy 10, they will give me 5 free. And I said, well, that'll work, you know. So I go over here to the thing, and I talked to her about ordering me the 10 in the next month or so. And she said that would be fine, you know, she would do it. And I said, but I'll have the coupons for the 5 free. And she said, well, I'll tell you what. She said, you buy 10, they give you 5 free, and I'll give you 5 free. Yeah. And I said, well, okay. So I get 20 bags basically for about $240.
Hmm.
I said all that to say I'm not sure which ones that I want to go with right now. In the meat rabbits sell well, but you can't really. You have to sell the rabbit and then process it for them. You can't sell the meat already processed. They won't allow it here.
Hmm. Yeah, I want to get with you later, and but whenever you get into that, maybe we'll do it together. I'll do my own rabbit thing here, but I don't know how. But let me say real quick, breeding. Yeah, I don't feel like the kids should be forced either, not at all. But if you take your kid out while he's very young, like 2, 3, 4, take him with you just like you would your dog. You know, I think that. But when your kid's old enough to say whatever he wants to do, yes or no, yeah, just invite him. You know, you don't have to say, "Get your butt out of the car. We're going." You know, ask him, say, "Hey, buddy, I'm going camping this weekend. You want to go with me? I'm going fishing. You want to go fishing with Daddy?" You know, I don't say you have to force them either, not at all. But yeah, back on the rabbits, I want to get into that too, Mike.
They
Good
avian
night, Parker.
flu. Good night, Parker. Um, avian flu. They just sent us a thing out in our local paper here that we have to start watching for it with the chicken stuff, which I don't have any right now. I've had them before, but they said that it's bad all around here. And Georgia is their biggest agriculture, not agriculture, but their biggest thing is chickens right now.
Huh. We
I
got
tell
lots
you
of
how.
chickens here and pigs. You always see trucks of pigs and chickens going all over here.
I tell you something that I'd heard they were talking about, letting them out in the duck blind and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to get a child started in hunting, in the beginning, they'll be kind of semi interested. But like with Caden, he loves to go, but he ain't gonna sit still for deer hunting. We'll go
Yeah,
squirrel hunting or something. With deer, it's just he's too antsy. He's very hyper child. But one of the things that you can do is like if you were duck hunting or dove hunting or something of that nature, always put the kid in the range of getting the best shot and getting the best ones. Because after they've made 3 or 4 kills or they've got 3 or 4 good shots, I mean that's just like anything we do. If we play football and we don't never get to make the good play, or if we play baseball and we can't hit the ball, you lose interest in it. But if they get that first 2 or 3 kills, you know they're on it from then on.
I know grown-ups like that too, or at least one. One of my best friends in Florida, Brian Melinda's husband. I took him hunting with me in Ocala National Forest and pointed out pretty much where he should go, but of course he had his own choice. And then I hunted across the lake in my stand. Well, I watched him. For first, I told him because he ain't never been hunting, and he was asking me questions on how to do it. And I ain't never killed a deer myself, but I know how to hunt. But and I was telling him he had one of them deer collars. I said, don't use that a whole lot. I said it's okay to use it every now and then, but don't use it a lot. And he said, anything else I should know? I said, yeah, be as still as you can. Less movement and all that stuff. Well, I was across the lake watching, and I watched him get up and walk another spot like 10 feet away from him. I watched him swatting bugs like crazy, all like that. And the deer call sounded like a freaking harmonica. He was using it so much. I was like, golly, how's a student expect he's going to kill a deer? But I guess some people just can't sit still.
I stalk sometimes. I'll sit in a tree stand, and then there's other days that I'm tired of sitting there waiting for them, and I'm gonna go find them. And you play the wind as much as you can, but there's no possible way that you're always going to have the wind in your favor. I mean, it can move at any time. Georgia is pretty limited or unlimited to the age of the child in the woods, long as they're with a person that has a hunting license. I'll tell you something that got me the other day when I went and renewed my stuff to get my WMA permit and stuff. I went on the website and it popped up, and something I've not seen in 32, 33 years. was my hunter's education card. I had the number. It's the first time in all this time that I actually have that number again, because always before it said attested, you know.
Do they even do that anymore?
Oh, yes, you cannot go in the woods without one. If you're under the age of about 30, let's see. No, I guess it would be if you're under the age of 42 or 43 now, you're not allowed to hunt unless you have one.
I don't know what the law is on that here, but I know when I was in Georgia as a kid, I had to do that too.
Yeah.
Go to a library and take the hunting test.
I won't never forget. We went to a church and done ours. It was 3 nights, I think, 2 or 3 nights. And the one question that I won't ever forget, that game warden was standing up there, and he asked, he said, "Okay, guys and gals," he said, "we've all been through this today." He said, "We're going to give you a few questions, Pop." He said, "You're in the middle of the woods." He said, and all of a sudden you see a 4-inch by 7-inch white object this big. Everybody stand up that thinks it's a deer, and everybody that thinks it's a rabbit stand up, or sit or raise your left hand. I don't remember what it was, but anyway, like half of us stood up. He said, "All right," and then all of a sudden he flipped his picture on, and it was a guy that took his boot off, and he had a white sock on, standing out there, and it looks just like a deer tail, but it was a boot or a sock.
Man. I know they got all kind of promoting kids to hunt thing. They got different programs that try to get kids interested in hunting. I forget what all they do or what all they are, but they promote it here a lot.
$1986. Yeah, that was a good year, Mike. That's whenever I said, "All right, cruel world, I'm out of here and on my own."
That was about the same time I went on my own too. First year in prison was 87.
The problem that I have with mule deer, we don't have any around here. I'd love to go somewhere where they have them, and do that. Now, a lot of times, if you know about where the deer are going, it's not that hard to stalk them. I mean, to get in there, to get within bow range is kind of hard. You really have to ambush them. Pretty much get to an area where they're coming through.
Deer are weird. I mean, as far as learning their habits and what scares them and what don't, they're weird. I mean, around here, you would think deer know when it's hunting season because you don't hardly ever see them when it's hunting season. And while I'm camping, I've had deer run up on me. I've had deer almost run over me while I was camping. I had a doe one time. I had to yell at it to keep it from running over me. I was like, "Hey, hey, hey!" And it stopped, turn around. But it's just weird. When you're not looking for them, they're everywhere. When you want one, it's hard to find them. We seen 2 on the side of the road yesterday, and one of them was a swamp deer, and I guess one wasn't, but it was kind of cool because you got a red deer and an almost black deer standing side by side each other. It's pretty cool.
A lot of somebody had told me to come on over and hunt and stuff. One of the things, I have a friend of mine, grew up with him, and he goes to Ohio every year, and he has to put in for a draw to get tags and stuff. And not hunting out of state very much, other than like Alabama, Tennessee, and even South Carolina, we didn't have to go through a lot of that. Of course, at South Carolina, I haven't hunted there in 25 years. But once you start getting up northwest, it's something I would really have to check into, because a lot of them are draws for certain deers and stuff. We're having abundance. We're just like you are in North Carolina. I mean, the bad thing is everybody feeds all the deer in this community, the area that I'm in here. I live in the country. The nearest house is just right across 50 yards from me, and then it goes on out, up to about 200 yards around, and then they start sporadically spiriting out. But we have 15 or 20 at any given time come right through my yard. But as soon as you put an arrow through one of them, it will run right straight up to Mr. Moore's house and fall dead on his driveway. And he will probably burn you out because he feeds these things out there. He's got feeders set up where he feeds them all, so I know Trevor, I don't think he got in on the draw this year for the moose hunt. I think he made the comment he didn't win. See, I don't understand how all those things work.
Tim said he was 50 feet from a 400-ish pound black bear yesterday while out hunting. Would have been supper, but I don't have a bear license.
See, here in Georgia, we're allowed 2 with just our big game hunting license. We're allowed 2 a year.
I don't know what it is here for bear. I ain't sure. I know we're overpopulated in bear too, so it might as well be a open season on them.
How much is a tag cost for one out of state, if you happen to know, Lee? Yeah. So Trevor, he didn't get his tag this year either, or he didn't win a draw. And that's got to be hard too, where we take it for granted. I want to go hunting, boom. I get 10 deer this year here in Georgia. 2 of them have to be antlered, one of them with at least 4, and the other one can be any kind. 10. For a family of 3, if you filled those tags every year, you wouldn't even run out before the year after that. And then those that, that like depend on that kind of meat and stuff, for more of a staple, part of their income and stuff like that. That's got to be tough not to be able to get a tag, to be able to go out and do it.
I know it's tough on me right now, and I can't find a place to hunt.
That's just insane. I mean, I went to the new house that you live in when I went out there, and it ain't nothing but woods.
I know it.
And you can't find a place to hunt.
I was telling Briar Goat Killer today on the phone. I said, man, it's sad.
I'm going to tell you what I'd do. I'd invest next year in about 5 feeders, and I'd be shooting them off my front porch.
Yeah. And like you said, all they got to do is cross the line. We only got 1 acre here, 1.34 acres. But,
that's not a bad deal, though.
Oh yeah, I love the place like crazy. And like I told Briar, then if I don't find a place to hunt, I'm just going hunting somewhere. Take it how you want it. But if I can't find a legal place to hunt, then I'm gonna find me a place to hunt. I know out of all these woods out here, they can't be packed full of deer hunters. There ain't that many people out this way.
With turkeys here in Georgia, 25 years ago, turkeys were scarce. Now, that area that I go over there and hike and camp in and stuff, you have to, there's turkey tracks that are this big out there. There are tons of them. And the coyotes and stuff can't even keep up with them as far as killing them off. And people, they'll go and they'll say, well, yeah, I went turkey hunting. I still ain't seen none, or I ain't got none. You can ride down the road in the middle of the city and there'll be a flock of them out there. Like, you ain't a hunter.
We got plenty here too. That's one of the more, there's a lot of good things about North Carolina, but one thing for sure is we're overrun with all the wild game, all except hogs. And there's hogs all over North Carolina from what I hear, but there ain't none around here. But bear, deer, squirrel, fox squirrel, coyotes, raccoons, turkey like crazy. You see turkey almost every single day
I tell
They're
you,
just overrun with it all.
I'm in agreement with Timber Wookie there. I hunt a lot of public land too, the forestry lands and things like that. And it's like you've scouted out a good area. You've got 3 or 4 possibilities in case somebody is, flopped in there. But the problem that you run into here is, boom, it's a Saturday that everybody's off and they're just pull. I mean, you don't even know where to go, especially during rifle season. Firearms. It's like you're afraid to go in the woods. I mean, because it's the guy that ain't even shot his weapon in 2 years decided to go hunting with his buddies because they asked him to go, and they're sitting on the side of the road, like where you drive up these forestry land. You can look like if you're riding by and you can look down there. They'll be 30 yards off the road just sitting there. I'm like, really?
Weapons. There's a lot of tree farms around here, but the only thing is I don't know nobody around here. We've been in North Carolina for I guess 6 years now, and we just never got out to meet folks. I got 2 good friends that live too far away from here for me to go hang out with. And where we're at now, we just moved here, and I don't know nobody around here. But yeah, there's tree farms all over here, pine trees. That seems to be everybody's retirement fund is the pine trees. I haven't never ate coyote woodrunner. I don't even know if I would eat coyote. I'd try anything. I'll try anything eating it once, but eating coyote just kind of seems weird, like eating your dog or something. But I would try it if somebody else already killed it and was cooking it.
That's looks like a pumpkin patch everywhere. That's the way it is here. As soon as it gets into full swing and they hear that the bucks are in rut, it's like everybody's like, "Oh man, they in rut. I better go out hunt." It's like, yeah, that's what you need to do.
I called weapons. I called the game warden 4 times today, and he hasn't returned my call yet. I called the forestry, and they didn't. All I asked them was, "Where can I hunt in Bladen County with a muzzleloader?" They couldn't answer my question, and they said, "I'm gonna give you the number to Bladen Lakes Forest because it was right next door to them." And I got Bladen Lakes Forest right over here by me too. And I asked Bladen Lakes Forest, and they couldn't answer me where I could hunt with a muzzleloader, and told me that's going to give me the number to the game warden. So I got that number, and I called that game warden 4 or 5 times already, and he ain't called me back yet. So I'm waiting to talk to him.
Good
Yes,
night,
catfish are good eating. Catfish are great eating.
Trevor said he had someone try to kick him off his own land. Yeah, that didn't turn out very well, I'm sure. It's like, oh, really? That's when you just reach over and hand them the tax paper and say, here, while you at it, go ahead and pay the taxes this year.
Good night, Mike.
That's one of the things, too, is even whenever you get, like, we have hunting clubs up here. I've thought about joining one of them. But even then, it's really good to check into who are in that hunting club, know what they are, because, if they just looking for somebody to split the bill with them and let anybody in, you ain't no better off than just hunting free land.
I am. I'm going to call them again tomorrow. I know this time of year they're real busy. No doubt about that. So I'll try to call them again tomorrow. I left them a message, though, twice. Yeah, you got it going on, Tim.
Well, we still have 22 on there, but I have to be up early in the morning.
You can shut it down whenever you're ready.
They I appreciate everybody that has came out and watched it, even though it was kind of a in and out of on different
Yes, sir.
subjects.
Sorry about all the computer problems. I'll try to get that fixed for next week. I went ahead and switched over to that Windows 10 and been having problems ever since then.
Oh, Fuzzy 48 said, I got lost in the woods, did like they said, fired 3 shots up in the air, then 3 more, and then 3 more. Then I ran out of arrows. Oh, that's a good one. But I'm going to go ahead and shut her down. Oh, Range Survival, first time live. Well, we're glad to have you.
Yep, always glad to have newcomers and everybody. Mike, before you shut down, you confirm that we're going to do this on Wednesdays from here on out?
I'll more than likely it's going to be Wednesday. I won't know until tomorrow afternoon.
All right. Well, Michael, let me know tomorrow afternoon, and then I'll send out the invite to everybody and let you know if it's going to be Wednesday or Monday. So when you get the invite, make sure you look at what the date's going to be on it. My computer screen went black twice tonight. Right now it's black.
It's black now.
I mean, my whole computer screen. I see nothing but my cursor.
That's a new screen. I'd take that sucker back to Wally World.
I don't think it's the screen. I think it's this freaking Windows 10 and my cheap computer. I think the screen's doing just fine. I mean, I can move my cursor around. I'm watching it, but there ain't nothing else there.
I'm at 964. I think
964 what?
Subscribers. I'm about 30 something off from the 1,000 mark. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and call it and stop this thing down. Thanks everybody for coming out and listening to us, kind of chit chat and stuff. Hope somebody picked something up either from the comments or from one of us on here, and we'll see you next week. It'll be on Alan's channel. More than likely it's going to be Wednesday night. It's going to kind of suck too because they'll have to change it to like Monday/Wednesday night Bushcraft Survival. But I've got work that's probably going to be keeping me working on Monday night, so that's one of the reasons of changing it. So everybody have a good one. We'll catch you next week.
Y'all take care.